Namaste everyone. Kindly come upon your mat. Sit comfortably, keeping your back and neck straight, and very gently close your eyes. Start observing your breath. Just the natural flow of the breathing as you are inhaling and exhaling. Be in your posture and make sure you are correctly aligned. Slowly begin to deepen your breathing. We'll be chanting Om 3 times, followed by 3 Shantis. Inhale deeply for Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Just feel the vibrations. Join both your palms together and rub them together. Keep them on the eyes. Very slowly, while linking and looking at your palms, begin to open up your eyes. Start coming back with a smile. And Namaste to everyone. We welcome you at Himalayan Yoga Association. I am Yogini Soumya and I will be conducting your session today. So today our topic of discussion is one that captures the interest of a lot of people, and in recent times Bhagavad Gita has become one of the most famous texts which is read throughout the world. There is no exception to this fact that it is read by a lot of people, and it is slowly being accepted as a universal text rather than just being a religious text, right? So the full name of the text, which you will not find in a lot of places, is actually Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishad. Okay, so this entire name in itself tells you about the text. So Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishad, this Gita, this word, it means to sing. So this text was sung by Lord Krishna to Lord Arjun, and what did he sing about? He sang about the ultimate reality. Okay, the ultimate truth. And why is the term Upanishad used? Because when he narrated this text, when this text took place, it was in a conversation form, right? It actually forms the essence of all the Upanishads. So if you know about the Upanishads, they are the essence of the Vedas. So Vedas are very old scriptures, right? And they are very large, it's very hard to read the Vedas, right? So Upanishads came in as the essence of the Vedas, but the Upanishads are also quite too many in number, right? As per one Upanishad, there are 108 of those, right? So the essence of all of these 108 Upanishads, it's captured in just one text, which is named Bhagavad Gita. So shortly this is named Bhagavad Gita or only Gita, right? So Gita. So most people know it by the name of either Gita or Bhagavad Gita, but in a lot of books you will also find Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and I told you the full name is Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishad, right? So let's get to know a little bit more about this text and why it is so famous. So this text is actually, as I said, it's the essence of all Upanishads. So just by reading this text, one can understand how to navigate through life. Okay, if you are struggling with something in your life, or if something is bothering you in your life, then this is the text you can always look up to, right? You will find the answers to all of your doubts over here, the right way of doing something, of leading life. It is given in Bhagavad Gita. And often we don't know how to deal with things in our life. We know that certain circumstances come up in life, but we are not taught from the beginning how to manage life. So this is a great management text, and even though it was written thousands of years ago, it is still relevant. If you read it today, it will fit so easily into your life that you will be surprised, right? So this text is in the form of a conversation between Lord Krishna and Arjun, right? Lord Krishna was the one who was transmitting the knowledge, and Lord Arjun was the one who was asking the questions and required that knowledge, right? This text is actually nothing but a part of a very famous epic in India called Mahabharata. Okay, so this is just a portion of that text, right? Bhagavad Gita was written by Ved Vyas, right? And the compiler of this text is Adi Shankaracharya. So when he compiled the text, it is in his time that this text gained a lot of attention, right? So this text has 18 chapters in total, each chapter elaborating on one form of yoga, right? So there are multiple forms of yoga, and each chapter in this text elaborates on one on the schools, or on all the schools of yoga, right? It contains 700 shlokas, so it's not too big, right? Now I know 700 is a big number, but if you find just the translation, so just the main thing that was said, which is in Sanskrit, and then you find the direct translation, it is not too thick a book. It's a very thin book, so you guys can go buy that and read it just for experimenting. Also, it's good just to go through the entire book to see if it is actually helping you, right? And I guarantee you, this book is going to give you a solution to most of the things that you have been asking, right? Because that is how timeless this text is. So most people consider this to be a Hindu text, but there is very little in it to do with religion, and too much to do in it with the universal things of life, right? So if you ever find time, you should add this one book to your book list, or in general your bucket list, right? At the beginning of this text, a very conflicting situation is going on. So the Kauravas and the Pandavas, they are standing on a battlefield, right? And one of the Pandavas is Arjun, right? And Lord Krishna is on Arjun's side, right? And Lord Krishna decided that he will not pick up any weapons in this war. He will ride the chariot of Lord Arjun, right? So in Indian war earlier, it used to happen that where the line was drawn, both the armies were given time to strategize. Okay, it was one of the rules of the war, right? So at this point of time, Arjun, when the Bhagavad Gita starts, Arjun comes to that place where he is looking at the other army and wants to strategize, and how they are going to proceed, right? And at that point of time, he sees his entire family and his teacher, his guru, who taught him how to shoot an arrow, standing on the other side, and he goes into deep conflict and wants to not fight the war anymore. Okay, so at this point of time, he comes in deep conflict, and that is when Lord Krishna guides him why he should fight the war. Okay, because he was standing in that war field as a warrior, so it was his duty to fight, right? So in 18 different ways, Lord Krishna explains to Lord Arjun why he should fight, and at the end of Bhagavad Gita, he agrees to fight. So all the 18 chapters, like I told you, different ways of explaining the same thing, right? So if you guys find time, you should definitely go and look for this book, and read it and see the kind of transformation it brings into your life. So let's end today's session. Sit with a straight back and neck and gently close your eyes. We'll chant Om one time, followed by 3 Shantis. Inhale deeply for Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Join your palms together and rub your palms together. Keep them on your eyes. Very slowly, while blinking and looking at your palms, open up your eyes, come back with a smile. And namaste to everyone. Thank you so much.